Time is 8:39 Central African time. It's a beautiful morning here in Johannesburg, and you're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makwidiri. And this is our hashtag Africa Focus segment. This is a part of the show where we take time each week to slow down a bit, to zoom out and look at the most pressing developments across the African continent. And this morning we turn to Sudan, a country that is facing one of the largest humanitarian catastrophes in the world today, since war broke out in April 2023 between the Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary rapid support forces. More than 30 million people have been thrown into urgent need of humanitarian assistance. Entire cities like Khartoum, El Fashar, and Kadugli are under siege or lie in ruins. Malnutrition is rising. Cholera outbreaks are spreading, and UN aid trucks sit waiting at checkpoints, unable to move. And yet, within the horror, there is resilience in border towns like Adre, in cities like Kosti, and in every Sudanese civilian refusing to give up. And to help us understand the human cost of this war and the international silence that is surrounding it, I'm now joined by Sudanese journalist Asim Ismail, who's currently based here in South Africa. Asim, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate you giving us the time, and welcome to Salam Media.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much.
I think first and foremost, I think we can kickstart the conversation with just looking at the scale of this catastrophe. There's over 30 million people that are currently in need of humanitarian aid. There's around 680,000 people that are facing a catastrophic food insecurity, and this is all according to the UN. And some major cities within Sudan are besieged; they are flattened. Can you maybe just unpack for our listeners, the people who might not maybe have an idea of what is currently happening in Sudan? I think because of just maybe the sheer silence that mainstream media in particular has had when it comes to covering Sudan. What does life look like right now for the average Sudanese civilian?
Assalamu alaikum. Actually, the Sudanese civilian now you're facing a lot of challenge and a lot of problem, especially those people who in the sanction, especially in the Fashir and the Kadugli and Dalan, some area. This is a rebel. You put them in the sanction for quite time, and don't give them any way to save the food and the medicine and everything, because this is that happened long time for other rural area. No one know about them because no network, no signal, no light for other town. Secondly, and all the Sudanese people in the town and other rural area is facing the different situation, because now we have what you call, we have a bad situation because of the medical situation, and those people don't have hunger and don't have a clean water for other town. And now this is about support forces is put the people, like you want to grab the people unless the soldiers to be out of the town. After that you can release the civilian people. You understand? Like in the Fashir area, now those people don't have any food to eat. Those people try to eat the food for the animals for more than 1 year. Hello?
Yes,
more than
yes,
1
yes,
year.
I'm still
This
here.
other town, even in the fashion situation is very bad. All those people supposed to be to speak loudly, to mention what happened in those people in the fashion. Every day the people die silent, because even the international, you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing, because even don't want to stop the war, even don't want to make the peace agreement for to support those people who in the bad situation, like in the Fashir, in the Kadugli, in the Dalan, other town. We're facing a lot of problem, like a cholera, like other disease, like the infect for the bomb from the rabbit support. The militia and other people. We find everything is the looting, because those people we come to village with the Toyota Baki for army, and come and loot everything for everything
Mm.
for the village. Actually, you can't live.
Asim, are you still there? Asim, are you still there? All right. We seem to have lost Asim there, but I think he was talking, I think, and touching on a very, very important aspect. The fact that there's a lot of difficulty when it comes to aid and the entry of aid in some of these cities in Sudan, and also these rebel groups that keep coming into these areas and plundering the little resources that the people there seem to have. And another thing that I wanted us to chat on was the politics within. I think it was on Sunday that the RSF commander Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo was sworn in. This past Sunday as the head of a parallel government in Sudan. What does that mean? How does that work? And I think at the moment we get him back on air, I was trying to see if we have a signal if he's back on air. But if he is, we'll try and chat a bit about that. Brother Asma, are you there? Are you back? Can you hear us? Hello, are you there? All right, we're still trying to get hold of Brother Asim, but otherwise, if you're listening to this and you wanna, engage a bit more broadly with the Sudanese crisis, we are going to be hosting a dialogue on Sudan right here on Salam Media. We'll be unpacking the largest humanitarian crisis on the African continent at this moment. It'll be on the 14th of September 2025, so in the next few weeks, 2 weeks. On Sunday at around 10:30 a.m. And it'll be hosted at the Nelson Mandela Foundation, 107 Central Street, Houghton Estate. And this is going to be an event that I think it is long overdue. I think Sudan, for the most part, never really made it on the news. It is never front cover. It is never on the headlines. And as Salam Media, I think we took it upon ourselves with the brilliant, brilliant team that we have here to change the narrative, to switch the perspective on Sudan, and to have it treated like any other humanitarian crisis on the African continent. And we definitely want you to be a part of it. There's going to be a panel of wonderful, wonderful speakers, some from South Africa, but mostly from Sudan. People who are in the diaspora, and they're going to be giving us insights on the true and lived realities of Sudan. There's going to be proposals about solutions. We'll be hearing from, people that have been in the conversations, who are very, very important in the conversations around Sudan. Their ambassadors, diplomats, professors, people that have done the really hard work when it comes to trying to find a solution for Sudan, because it's a crisis that can't be left, the way it is currently, where it is largely ignored. And there's something really, really concerning and sad when I think about Sudan, and how when you interact with them, they'll tell you, well, nobody cares about us because we are dark skinned. We are the dark skinned Muslims. It's just Africans killing Africans. And at the end of the day, the world doesn't care because we are not of a fairer skin. And that's the reality. We should not be scared to, be honest about what the Sudanese people are thinking and are feeling. They're saying they're being largely ignored because they're not of a fairer skin tone. And that has been the reality, unfortunately. The largest humanitarian catastrophe on the African continent has gone largely underreported, if reported at all. A lot of us don't know the facts and the truths about what's happening in Sudan. And yeah, with the Sudan dialogue here on Salam Media. We're trying to change that. And if you want to be a part of it, there's a QR code on your screen right now that you can scan, and you can book your ticket on Cricket. There's a small fee of around 50 Rand. And it's essentially about that, making sure that Sudan is part of the conversation and making sure that we educate South Africans and the people from the rest of the world about Sudan and what is happening there, because a lot of people still don't know. People still don't know that there's even a distinction between South Sudan and how the breakaway of the two countries happened, and ultimately how did Sudan find itself in the catastrophe that it finds itself in. I didn't know, largely for the most part. It took a lot of education, it took a lot of commitment on trying to understand what's happening here on the African continent, on our doorstep, before we head over to the rest of the world, and to also understand that the struggles of a people, doesn't matter where in the world, are mostly intertwined. If you find time to research and do a bit of reading, you'll find out that the power dynamics are almost similar. You'll find that the decision makers are largely not even in some of those countries. It's somewhere in the United States and in America or in the Middle East, where decisions are taken on behalf of these oppressed people, and it's not them essentially that get to decide their fate. And it's very, very important for me, I think, as an African, and I think it should be important for every African to not ignore Sudan, because at the end of the day, especially if you're South Africa, whatever happens on the African continent ultimately will reach you. It will find a way to your doorstep. Take Zimbabwe, for instance. For the longest of time, we just saw the crumbling of the economy in Zimbabwe, and the way that the government has been going about running affairs in that part of the continent as something to ignore. Until the people of Zimbabwe said, we can't take it anymore. We're going to see greener pastures, and justifiably so, they came to South Africa. Because South Africa, for the most part, is still, an African continent that still has a lot of resources, and people from the whole of Africa are going to come here. And if we don't understand why they're here, and how do we interact with them when they're here, we'll find ourselves in a very, very precarious position, where people continue to do all kinds of stupid things because of a lack of education. So yeah, be part of the Sudan Dialogue, 14th of September, 2025. It's on a Sunday, so it's easy. At around 8:30, brunch, kind of moment. Snacks are going to be served. Nelson Mandela Foundation, and there's going to be a small fee of around 50 Rand. You can scan the QR code that's on your screen right now. Otherwise, if you're listening to us on radio, you can give us a call on 0116800355, and you can get a bit more information about the Sudan Dialogue. As I mentioned, there's going to be wonderful, wonderful panelists, decision makers, policy makers, professors, academics, people who are well invested on the issues of Sudan and the issues of the African continent and how they affect all of us. Otherwise, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, News and Views continues.